Hello everybody, this is Weekend Now and time for getting more analytical, away from the din of the markets. In this show, Under the Lens, I go deeper into some important issues that investors face. The idea is for you to get an in-depth knowledge of the same headlines and stories that you have been reading right through the week. The matter we are discussing today is important to every investor in the country. It is the health and outlook for the Indian stock exchanges, with special emphasis on the recent Bimal Jalan committee on the entire market infrastructure institutions. For this, today we are joined by Mr. Ashok Jha. Thank you, Mr. Jha, for agreeing to come. Mr. Jha is a man of many parts. He is an ex-civil servant and an alumnus of St. Stephen's College. Right now, he is the chairman of MCX. He also did a stint in the Delhi School of Economics. He has served as the finance secretary to the Indian government and advised FICCI and other industry organizations. That's interesting, FICCI and government. Thank you, Mr. Jha. Before we plunge into the discussion, it may be useful for viewers if I briefly recount where we are as far as the Indian stock exchanges go. In India 20 years ago, we had 20 stock exchanges, all regional in nature. While Bombay was the biggest and oldest, Calcutta, Madras, Ahmedabad, Bangalore were all vibrant. They were all privately owned by the brokers themselves, but subject to the broad supervision of the finance ministry. Then the National Stock Exchange was created in a way to break the monopoly of the Bombay Stock Exchange, if you want to call it that way, and promote a national stock exchange where all the investors were equal. The NSE has been a huge success, and today it accounts, many of you wouldn't believe it, 96% of all the trades in India. All regional stock exchanges are defunct, except for BSE, which is quite small, though it appears big to people. The Jalan committee was set up to see whether, among other things, to see if competition was possible to break monopolies. Profits, profiteering, ownership, listing, many other things were under its purview. So the first thing, Mr. Jha, we would like to be discussing with you is the way the Jalan committee report is today. It's in the public domain. Is it breaking the monopoly, if you want to call it that way, of the NSE? And also, can we talk in terms of monopolies, etc., and competition when we come to something like the NSE, which is also having regulatory functions?
You see, as you rightly mentioned, NSE today has a market share of about 96–97%. Now, so there is a monopoly.
Yeah, no disputing that. 96 is
in fact, it is erroneously believed that because BSE is there, so two stock exchanges are adequate. There is competition. There is no competition.
There is no derivatives trading in BSE, for example.
Absolutely none, zero. And therefore, there is no competition. If you have one player having 96–97% of the market, you can't say that there is competition. So the point is there is no competition. Yeah. Now the issue is that does the Jalan committee recommend measures that will promote competition?
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, my reading of the report, and this report, as you know, has been very widely discussed in newspapers also,
and widely criticized.
Widely, yes. A very scathing criticism has been made of the report. This report will only help to perpetuate the monopoly that exists today.
Why do you say that? I hear that from, of course, you have a little vested interest since you head the MCX, which wants more competition. I mean, but I'm sure you are such a knowledgeable man, you can put that behind you and you can put on your government hat, whatever hat. Why do you feel that way? I mean, why do you say this report is killing competition? What's there in that?
No, actually the whole report is really designed to kill competition. I'll explain how.
Really?
See, today, as far as stock exchanges are concerned, they are governed by certain regulations which were promulgated under the SCRA Act.
Yeah.
Now, the regulations stipulate that no person or entity shall hold more than 5%, except certain financial institutions which have where they can hold up to 15%. This is the present.
The idea was to broad-base
the entire thing. Now, which in my view is a very good idea.
Okay.
See, but there is a theoretical problem with this because it says that the people should not be acting in concert. Okay.
Okay.
So therefore, effectively, what it boils down to is saying that, let's say 20 people, either in one city or in different cities of the country, suddenly simultaneously get an idea that we will float a stock exchange. And then they float a stock exchange. Now, is that possible?
And also there is no owner, no? I mean, there is not somebody who is who can stand up and say,
precisely. So therefore, ever since the demutualization and corporatization of stock exchanges took place, that is ever since NSE came into the picture, and as you said, BSE got almost sidelined, and the regional stock exchanges faded away because there's a lot of, the new stock exchanges required a huge amount of investment,
connectivity, and
so now we have a situation where one player really controls the market. The Jalan Committee's recommendation to the effect that as far as ownership is concerned, ownership should be limited to again this 5%, or in the case of certain banks and institutions, then go up to 24%.
So hold that thought. So it's really perpetuating a monopoly. It is not saying it in so many words, but by the shareholding structure, etc. It's going to be things as usual. It's a cozy situation for NSE. Friends, we are just getting into the heat of this discussion, and I hope you are enjoying it. We'll go for a very short break, but please don't go away. Mr. Jha and I is very much with us, and we'll be discussing under the lens more important issues thrown up by the Jalan Committee. Remember always that you have your section 2, where you raise the questions, which we will try and deal with. All that you need to do is to email your questions to underthelens@utvmoney.com. I repeat, underthelens@utvmoney.com. Go for a short break, and we'll be right back.